Hi there, I'm Mike Gales for Everlast Nutrition, and in this video we're going to take a look at how to slip punches in boxing for beginners. Well, I guess the first question should be, what is a slip? Well, I guess you could think of it as slipping your head out of the path of straight punches so that you don't get hit directly in the face. I think that the best way to visualize this is to think that there is a kill zone, and within that zone, the straight punches such as the jab and the cross will do the most amount of damage because it's there that they're going to have the most leverage. And what we're looking to do with the slip is to time it so that your head is out of that kill zone as the straight punch is being thrown towards your face, which will hopefully save you from being hit. So now that you generally know what a slip is, let's go over the easiest way to do it. Okay, first things first for you beginners. You don't want to be standing all square facing your opponent like this, as you're going to be a much easier target to hit because your lateral mobility is going to be limited. And next, this is extremely important, you don't want to slip punches using your neck. In fact, you're going to notice in just a moment that my neck does not move at all. So to do this correctly, assume a proper boxing stance with your lead leg and lead shoulder pointed towards your opponent. And if you're not sure how to do that, I'll include that in the description in the link below. The most basic movement that we're going to use to slip punches will be done by bending at the leg and at the waist. By doing that, you're going to use your core to move your head out of the path of incoming punches. So here are just a few things to keep in mind. And first, I already mentioned that you want to bend at the legs and at the waist, and you don't want to use your neck. Next, you're going to want to keep your hands and your shoulders up as high as possible, and you're going to focus on making sure that your head is safely out of that kill zone. You also don't want to be leaning too far forward while you're slipping punches either. One, that'll put you closer to the punches and limit your reaction time. And two, you're going to have zero leverage to deliver any counter shots after you slip. So in the beginning, let's do nothing fancy. You're just going to maintain a proper boxing stance and focus on bending at the legs and at the waist, and you're going to be doing just fine. Another little tip is that you definitely want to get out of that kill zone, but you don't want to over-exaggerate your slip like this, because that's definitely going to increase the time that you're going to need to counter, and also repeating this exaggerated movement over and over again is going to tire you out for nothing. So once again, the important point is moving your neck like this is useless because you're still going to get hit. And even if you move your head using your core, you need to make sure that it gets outside of that kill zone, or else once again, you're going to get hit. But if you can, just try not to over-exaggerate your movements. I think one of the main things to note here should be that slipping punches is all about timing, and your reaction time is obviously going to be greatly improved if you can actually see the punches coming clearly. So where is it that you should be looking? I mentioned this before in the blocking video, that if you look directly at the punches, it's very similar to as if you were looking directly at the lines on a paved road. They seem to be moving very, very fast. But when you look far ahead and you use your peripheral vision to see those very same lines, they seem to be moving a lot slower, even though your car is still moving at the exact same speed. So instead of looking directly at the punches themselves, keep your eyes fixed on the upper chest of your opponent and use your peripheral vision, and you're going to see everything clearly. Because once again, the slips are all about timing, and it's a lot easier to time them if you can actually clearly see them coming. Now let's take a look at specifically slipping the jab. And for the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume that your opponent is not a southpaw. So my opponent here is throwing his jab. And remember that I want to slip my head out of that kill zone. Now I'm going to recommend that the best option for a beginner is to slip to the outside of the jab by bending your rear leg and your waist so that your core moves your head outside of that kill zone. Now there's no doubt that you could slip the jab to the inside, but I would not suggest that for beginners, as your head is still going to be within the kill zone of a cross that may be following his jab. So it is true that you could slip to the inside like this, but like I said, I wouldn't really recommend this to a beginner because there definitely is a risk. So for you first timers, I would suggest that you keep your hands up as high as you can. Now there's no doubt that your hands are going to move a bit due to momentum, but keep them up as high as you can and slip his jab to the outside. One last point, you can still do this, but I would definitely recommend that beginners not slip punches as they go straight backwards, as you're still going to be in range for a hard cross. It may be counterintuitive, it's a much safer option to actually slip the jab as you move towards your opponent and to the outside. Next, let's take a look at slipping the cross specifically. So here's my opponent throwing his cross, and remember here that my main objective is to slip my head away from that punch. And I recommend that you do that by bending at the lead leg and at the waist, and moving your head outside of that kill zone. Now, similarly to the jab, the best option for beginners will be to slip to the outside of the kill zone of that punch. And remember that your hands are probably going to move down a bit with your momentum, but try to keep them up as high as you can. And it is true that you always have the option of slipping to the inside, but then you also have the risk of getting hit with his left hand. And just like when slipping the jab, if you're going to move your feet, then once again I would not recommend that beginners slip the cross as they back up in a straight line, but rather that they slip the cross moving forward towards it and to the outside. Now, whichever punch you slip, it must be done at the right range. Doing slipping motions from a great distance for nothing while your opponent just stands there and watches you is going to be a complete waste of time. And eventually you're going to tire, he's going to time you, and he's going to catch you with a hard punch. Also, if you try to slip punches at extremely close quarters, that takes super reflexes, which a beginner may not have. So for beginners, the best time to perform the slip is going to be when you're just outside of arm's length. And that leads us to a good question. Why would you want to slip punches anyway? Why not just block them? Well, if your opponent misses his intended target, then there's going to be a moment of opportunity where he's going to be open and probably off balance. And this is where you can turn a defensive maneuver into offense. Timing his punches and slipping them will give you the ability to land some nice clean counter punches. First, I would only use the slip to avoid straight punches, and to avoid the hooks I would use a bob and weave. And if you're curious about how to do that, I'll leave a link in the description below. So now that you have a vague idea of how to slip punches, here are a few drills to practice. I would first practice by yourself and get used to making small steps forward in your boxing stance as you practice slipping the jab to the outside. Then I would practice slipping crosses to the outside. I think that you're going to find it much easier to slip punches if you develop your own rhythm of movement like I'm doing here. So that's a slight weight transfer from foot to foot, and then when I'm ready I'll slip. That seems to be a much more natural movement than trying to slip from a completely static position. So once you get used to slipping the jab, then the cross, we'll try 2 slips together to slip the old 1-2, both of which we're going to slip to the outside. Now if you have a partner, you can have them throw a jab towards you, and you want that jab to be somewhat realistic so that it's thrown straight towards you, but they shouldn't be trying to break your face. Remember that you guys are supposed to be partners. And this way you can get used to practicing slipping to the outside. Then use your partner to practice slipping the cross to the outside. Then you could throw in the jab and the cross. And finally, once you get more comfortable with the slips, you can throw in some movement to create some offensive possibilities. This has been Mike Gales for Everlast Nutrition. And if you like these videos, then please subscribe, as we're constantly posting up great tips and new ideas to get you into the absolute greatest shape possible.